Hi everyone, happy to see you there. So my name is Thierry, an expert product from OMSYSTEM. So I hope everybody is happy to be there. So this topic for today speak about underwater photography. So if you want to have more information or something like this, we are very happy to be there with Thomas. Thomas is one of my ambassador, and so I think today Thomas want to speak about that, his passion about photography like you. So please, Thomas, introduce yourself and the topic about this presentation, and I'll be there if you need something. But of course, this is your moment, and you are there to share your passion with everybody there.
Okay, thank you, Thierry. I'm Thomas. I'm an ambassador from Belgium, I think for almost 5 years, maybe 6 years, I'm not sure. I work with Olympus. I'm very passionate about Olympus for the OM system at the moment. So sorry, so OM system. I'm an ambassador for underwater photography because that's my passion. It's my professional. It's everything I do. I can't imagine doing something else in photography. It's wildlife underwater, but most of them conservation and impact photography. It seems a little bit weird, so I will explain it later what I actually do. But you see it on the background. It's lots of beautiful animals in blue water, in green water, in dark, cold, murky water. So everywhere I go, I try to deep dive into the water. And that's the reason I actually choose OM system, because the weather seal is one of my favorite things. Because at the moment, the water in Belgium, because I'm from Belgium, hey, hello Belgium, it's almost 3 degrees, so it's very, very cold. And one of the things I really hate, and thank God it never happened, is I'm diving in 3 degrees of water. It's freezing cold. I'm lying here, the beautiful animals, because winter time is one of my favorite times to dive in Belgium. I'm freezing in the water. I'm really cold. And the camera shuts down because of it's too cold. And that's something I can't afford, because the pictures I make at the moment are the mating pictures of the bull rout. And the bull rout is a beautiful, beautiful fish like this, okay? And the small animals, the baby fish, are almost 5 millimeters big, and you only have one shot. And if you then miss the shot because of camera malfunction, I hate it. So that's one of the reasons I chose OM systems. It's not the only reason, but I will talk a little bit more about why OM systems and then Olympus in the past. So by that's for all the other pictures. One other thing I want to tell about myself is I'm the Belgium champion underwater photography of 2022. So that's one thing I'm really proud of. Thank you. It's I know there is Belgium championship underwater photography. Most of the people don't know about the competition, but it's a shootout competition. And what does it mean, shootout? Everybody has 1 week to go into the water, take pictures, and then you have to hand over the SD card or send the pictures. And there is no Photoshop allowed. So it's only straight out of the camera. And you have 5 pictures you have to make. You have to make a macro picture, you have to make a wide angle picture, wide angle with model, a team, and the team this year was seaweed and plants, and then a fish portrait. So that's the 5 pictures you have to make. And I was so lucky this year to be the Belgium champion, because in Belgium we have a few really, really good underwater photographers. So it's an honor. It's very big achievement for me to be the champion this year. So that's something I'm proud of.
Thomas, just a few minutes. I just put on the comment, if the people want to see your picture, I put on the comments your link on Instagram. So like this, everybody some people want to show your picture. So I put directly the Instagram on the comment. So like this, some people go there. Okay, sorry, Thomas. Let's go
No
again.
problem. So perfect. So if you want to see the pictures, you can always check out the Instagram. I post daily, almost daily, pictures from underwater with some fun facts about some fishes, animals, some maybe not fun facts, because conservation is one of the things that I'm really into. So it depends on what mood I am. Sometimes it's just a really weird fun fact about fishes, or the truth about how many sharks die each year. I also have a small presentation about the pictures I make and how do I make the pictures. The presentation there it is, the impact of conservation photography. There was a lot of data. I just cut out all of the data because that's not relevant for today. I just want to talk about the pictures and how everybody can do some impact for the environment, because everybody can do conservation photography. That's the last part of the presentation on what can you do to make a contribution to the environment, because most of the people think, I can do anything. It's really sad, but we can't change anything. No, everybody can do something. And I believe if you have a backyard, if you have a camera, you can make a difference. That's the reason I want to do this presentation, because I want to show you how easy it is to make a change in the environment, because we all stand together and it's quite easy. But let's go. So that's because otherwise we're here at 10 o'clock.
Just before you start, Thomas, I would like to say to the people is there, if you have some question, please ask your question directly on your comment. And if it's possible for Thomas to give you some answer, of course, Thomas is totally aware for that. And so don't worry, put your question, and maybe you have opportunity for Thomas to give you the right answer. So thank you in advance. Let's go, Thomas, on your presentation.
What housing are you using? All right, that's the first question already. I'm using two housings because at the moment I'm working with the EM1 Mark II and Mark III. So I use the Olympus housing because OM doesn't have a housing anymore, but the Olympus housing. And I use a Nauticam housing. So that are both the housings I use. Why those? The Olympus housing is good. It's easy to use. And the other housing is because there is not an Olympus housing for the EM1 Mark III. So that's the reason I use the Nauticam housing. I hope that's a good answer. So the impact of conservation photography. You see already a really difficult picture. It's a real shark, and there are lots of people. So that's not a good image, not a good picture. We are people. We want to see animals. We have money, and we think we can do everything with money. No. We will get back in a few minutes about that topic, but the first topic is Malapascua, home of the treasure sharks. And this is a positive story, so it's not all negative. So this is a beautiful positive story. Malapascua, a beautiful island in the Philippines. You can see bounty, blue water, warm, sandy beach. Perfect environment for me. Not the perfect environment for the most of the cameras, because the humidity is there amazing. So if you have your t-shirt, you can just rinse it out. You can see the beautiful beaches. So it's not the best environment for the cameras, but OM Systems, hey, weatherproof again. So you're gonna hear me say a lot, weatherproof, because the environment where I work for taking pictures is not a good environment for most of the cameras. Seawater, cold, really hot, humid, sand. So that's not the best combination. But Malapascua, home of the treasure sharks. It's a beautiful story, but it wasn't a beautiful story in the beginning. 60 years ago, 50, 60 years ago, nobody cares about environment. It's a beautiful place, but people has to eat. I really understand it. I have a family too. I need to feed my family. And those people, they feed on fish. They go fishing. But they don't have the best way of fishing. They used, not anymore, but they use dynamites and just throw a big pile of dynamite into the reef. A big explosion, the reef totally dead. Everybody has some fish, but that's a really short-term action, so that's not good for the environment. That's not good on a long term. So they had to change, and they were thinking, what is interesting here? And Malapascua is really famous for this beautiful animal, the treasure shark. They used to hunt a lot for the treasure sharks because you see they have really long fins, and too bad 100 millions each year of sharks get caught for the fins, but not in Malapascua because it's a protective species. And they thought, okay, sharks, good idea. We go shark diving. And it's now a sanctuary for the treasure shark. And they stopped with all the dynamite, all the fishing. And the people who were fishermen are now rangers. So there's 24/7 a person in a boat just sitting there on the reef watching. And he's protecting the reef against poachers. He's checking that tourists are taking care of the environment, don't destroy the reef, and they don't touch the animals. So it's actually a better way of living because they get paid by the government, the environment is protected, and the animals are coming back. I see a question. Do you use focus stacking underwater? No, too badly. It doesn't work because I'm a really good diver. Olympus has an amazing stabilization, but on the water, you're in the waves. Whoa, whoa, no. I've tried it, and it's no, too bad. It doesn't work. And
yes, I don't know if you remember, Thomas, but this is one of the first questions I asked you. If you use this one, because Pamela had exactly the same question I asked you.
Yeah.
So I think many people think it's possible or not possible on the underwater photography to take this kind of picture with focus stacking or some kind of picture. So the other question from Pamela, I think is very interesting because there are a lot of people don't know exactly about the editing photography in underwater because we have a lot of blue color in the sea. So the people ask very frequently if you use Workspace or Lightroom or maybe another one. So
actually, it's an other one. I'm gonna just put another picture on a beautiful turtle. I use actually Photoshop, so no Lightroom, no OM Workspace. Sometimes OM Workspace, but most of the time I use Photoshop. It's quite the same as Lightroom, but just a little bit more. You can do basic photo editing with Lightroom and even with OM Workspace because the blue into the water, actually it's really easy to take care of it. Just adjust the white balance, and because I do lots of shootout competitions, I don't have to change a lot to the pictures because my goal is to take a picture on the water with no editing. So it's the picture you see. It's almost no Photoshop, no editing. I work with two big strobes. Sometimes I work with continuous lights, so video lights, really big spots. It's almost a submarine. But this picture is taken with two flashlights, and the flashlights show the real colors because on the water, if you go deeper and deeper and deeper, the red is really the use of filter underwater to improve color clarity. No, so it's on the water.
It is exactly the same question I asked you on Friday. No, do you remember? so it's people have the same question. So
yeah,
right,
so it's
for your question.
It's something that a lot of people use, color filters, but I don't use it because you're very limited, especially the red ones. If you go deeper, the red ones you can't use anymore. So it's very limited, and I don't like to be limited. So I like to be free. That's one of the reasons I love to go diving, just free diving, diving with air, with tanks on my back, just the freedom. And if you're limited with the filter at 10 meters, 15 meters, 20 meters, and there's a shark or turtle or something else beautiful downstairs, Nah, I don't like it. But it's a good start. So if you want to start with underwater photography and you don't have the money to buy the strobes or to buy video lights or other lights, then it's a really cheap solution to get decent pictures for quite less money. And another picture, do you manual white balance underwater every feed? No, because I work with flashlights, and the flashlights they have the color balance already. So it's I just put the white balance at 5,400 Kelvin, and that's the standard for the flashlights. So it's the color is quite automatically correct. If you use a different camera like a TG6, for example, you have the basic settings and they are already quite good. So manual white balance is very intense because, like you said, every 15 feet you dive under, you have to change it. And if you're, like me, a very lazy diver, no, it's not going to happen. So that's the reason I use the flashlights and the video lights sometimes.
Thank you, Thomas, and thank you for all the questions.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's the reason I'm here. So if you have any other questions, just shoot, and I will try to help you as much as I can. So we are talking about Malapascua and the beautiful reefs, and these are actually quite beautiful pictures from the reef that is restored, because 50 years ago it was fully dynamite and it was dead. But I believe if we give nature the opportunity, it will survive and it will come back, because everybody is now at the moment very, very sad, actually. Oh, the planet is going to die and then nature is dead, etc., etc. No, I'm very optimistic. I want to believe everybody can do something to contribute and nature will survive. We are a very intelligent species. We know there is a problem, but we also know how we can fix it, and nature will help it, because nature will survive. These pictures are the best way, because what I do, I want to show the world, because this is the perfect audience, the perfect platform to show the world how beautiful the world is on the water. And if you know what it's there, you want to protect it. Something you don't know, you don't protect. So my mission is to make all of you fall in love with the underwater world, and we're all going to protect it. So that's the next picture, a beautiful sea star and a cuttlefish. Okay, another question. Sorry, when you use video lights, what is the lumen? It actually depends on the subject and the environment. I also do fashion. It's not something I do a lot, but sometimes I do fashion shoots, and the video lights I use are 15,000 lumen, so that's quite a lot. And then I don't work with the strobes. If I use video lights underwater in the blue water with bright sunny environment, also 15,000. If I do it in Belgium or in Holland, I use less lumen, because we have very murky water, and if you use a lot of light, you get backscatter. And I think because you ask quite good questions, you know backscatter. So if you put a lot of light on it, the backscatter will reflect, and it's quite ugly. So it's that's the reason it depends on the subject and the environment. Which lens are you using for wide angle and macro? A lot. I think I use quite almost every lens from OM Systems. My favorite lenses for macro are the 30 millimeters and the 60 millimeters. This picture is shot with the 60 millimeters. It's an amazing lens to use on the water because it's so sharp. It needs quite a little bit of light to focus, because most of the lenses are really fast, and the 60 is a little bit slower. Sorry, Thierry, but it's a little bit slower. But if you have the focus light, because when we go diving, we have the camera here, we got two flashes there, a focus light in the middle, it focused perfectly, but you need a focus light for the 60, and the 30 is amazing. It's super fast, even in the low light conditions, because Belgium, no tropical beach. If we have 2 or 3 meters visibility, it's really good. So the 30 millimeters focus is really good in dark, murky conditions. So that's one of the reasons I use those. For wide angle, I have the 8 millimeters, the fisheye. I have the 714. I have the 12, and I have the 1240 Pro. So it all depends on the subject. Yes, it's. I use everything. The 8 millimeters is actually my preferred lens because it's you can go really close to the subject. Even it's fisheye, it's wide angle, but you can focus on one centimeter. So you can do like close focus wide angle. So that's one thing I really love, and that's with the 8 millimeter perfect. All right, another blue question. Sorry, do you use on the rudder auto white balance setting when you use strobes and OM1? I use manual white balance because I use the strobes, and I put the white balance on the Kelvin value of the strobes. So that's actually, I don't have to change anything during the dive. It's just one setup in the beginning of the dive, and then, just take pictures.
When you have the same light during all the time, that's very easy to put exactly the same what you want.
Yeah. That's true. So it's that's the reason. If you work with natural light, when I have in the end of the presentation, I have some pictures with natural light, then it depends, because then I use the manual white balance as well. But I can't say which value because it depends on the sunlight. It depends on the water, blue water, green water. So it's really difficult. But auto white balance, I don't use it quite often. So it's only when I'm really lazy and I just want to do an easy dive, and we will see, and then I put it on auto. But most of the time I do it manually. Okay, so next picture, the beautiful sardines. So if you don't fish, the life will come back, and that's one of the main things I want to show in the pictures. If you protect the environment, it will restore. And these pictures, they're used in the Philippines as well as a proof how good nature conservation works. So that's something I'm proud of. But the next one, you see the title, ecotourism versus ecoterrorism. It sounds very, very heavy. Actually, it's not that heavy, but these pictures can make a difference because Bohol is very popular. It's in the Philippines also, and you can go diving and swimming with whale sharks. You see, is it good? Is it bad? That's not for me to say. It's quite controversial because they feed the animals. Is it good? Is it not good? Yeah, it's not for me to say, but it's at least controversial. But these pictures, again, they're used for science because I do lectures in Belgium. I teach people about conservation and how people can react, how people can contribute, and then how they have to react when they see a shark, etc. So these pictures are used for research as well, because I send them to the conservation in the Philippines, and they are working on new laws and new regulations for this marine park, because they say you can't touch the animal, but if you see the pictures, they're really close. They touch the animals, because if you go farther, people try to sit on it, and it's not the best picture, but it's a picture that can make a difference for the animals. And if you are there, you can take pictures. It don't has to be a National Geographic winning picture, but if you have a picture of somebody who is violating nature conservation laws, take a picture and send it to the government. It's quite easy. It's quite easy to make some contribution with that. These pictures are not shot with a TG6, but it's all the pictures are shot with the EM1 Mark II, Mark III, and the EMX. But the TG6 is always my best friend because it's very small, it fits in my pocket. And sometimes when the big camera, the battery is dead, it happens because a dive is more than 2 hours. It's it's no exception. So it's 2 hours, and then sometimes the battery is dead. Then I can use a TG5, TG6, because they are really, really great cameras. And in Belgium, they're my main targets for workshops, because lots of people, and I guess you, are using the TG5, TG6, and they are amazing, because in competitions, lots of people use a small camera and you can't see a difference. And people don't use the full potential of the TG6. Everybody thinks it's a small camera, it's a toy. No, no, no. If you see the macro potential of the TG6, it will amaze you. A small settings, just in 30 minutes, I can make a really big difference in the picture you make now and the picture you can make. I don't know your pictures, of course, but most of the people don't use the full potential because it's such a great camera. But it's not about the TG6, so beautiful animals and conservation. If you have questions about the settings for the TG6, just send me an email and I will help you with all the pleasure.
Do you have some picture on the TG6 on your Instagram account, Thomas? If some people want to see what's possible to do.
I can put some on it because I don't know by my head if I have some, but I have some on my computer. So keep an eye on the Instagram, and I will post some TG6 pictures. So
okay, thanks.
Because I'm a big fan of the camera, so it's a really small, really underestimated camera. So again, no National Geographic picture, but why is this picture important? It shows in the background, you can maybe, I was pointing to my screen. Why I was pointing to my screen? You can see in the background all the small boats. They say there are only limited places in the marine park, but this picture made clear that there were more than 500 people at this moment. So again, just a small picture, send it to the university, to the government. It makes a difference because they're working on new laws again. So it's but I don't want to nag all the time. So next picture. Again, lots of people in the water. Beautiful picture, you think. No, this actually was a beautiful coral reef. Again, it's not the best story diving in Bohol, because a lot of people in the water, a lot of pollution, a lot of dead coral reefs. And why? Because of this. People going to lay down on the bottom just to take a picture, just to see the animal. No, this picture says it all for me. I love to take pictures. We need to take pictures. We need to make people aware how beautiful the underwater world is, but not at this cost. Because everything you see at the bottom is dead, because people are going to sit on it. No. If you want to take pictures on the water, yes, but learn to dive, learn to respect the nature. And I see a really beautiful question, Thierry. Perhaps we could have a dedicated TG6 session sometimes. So
yes, I read this question. So
that's maybe.
Yes, maybe we have some Zoom session, but not on direct live like you do together. So, but maybe one day we try to have a Zoom session about only the TG6. Yes, I agree. So let's check what is possible to do, and we have all the event we have on My Olympus. So on My Olympus, you can see every event we have. So I will try to give the opportunity to speak about the TG6. Okay.
Perfect. So it's but like I said, nature can survive. This picture is only shot 100 meters next to the dead zone. So if you give them the opportunity to survive, the nature will find a way. And one of the reasons I choose this picture is because you all like underwater pictures, otherwise you won't be here, is the the sunbeams in the back. And that's something I get during workshops all the time, this question: how do I get sunbeams on the water. I have a really small, easy trick. If the water is very shallow, just move the water, because if the sun, I need to watch my, okay, here's my hand. If you see the sunbeams, they go in the water, but if the water is flat, you don't gonna see the beams, and just exhale, make bubbles or splash in the water, and the surface will break the light, and you can see the beautiful sunbeams. So it's really easy. It's an easy trick, but it's so much an improvement for every picture. So sun, 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 sun. Again, a beautiful coral reef and nudibranch. This picture is actually shot with the 60 millimeters, but with a converter as well, because the nudibranch you see is really tiny. And the 60 is amazing, but sometimes on the water, the animals are even for the 60 too small. And then I use a small converter, like you have from Nauticam, or you got from CNC. And then you can take pictures like this. And next one, again, a small shrimp. Anybody, because I'm going to check you guys a little bit, because you're all listening and you ask a lot of really good questions. Anybody has an idea, how do I get the black background? We will see how smart you guys are, because this is a beautiful shrimp. It's in a bubble tip anemone, but the sides are black. And it's a totally silent at the chat box.
Very complicated question.
Okay, that's one of the tricks I want to teach you guys also, because light. Is that a wet lens? Yeah, a wet lens on the 60 millimeters. So Nauticam is a wet lens. You have the housing, and you just can screw the lens on the water in front of the housing. Snoot, thank you, Francisco. So snoot is actually, you have the strobe, and you put a small tube on the strobe, and it gets smaller, and it only shows the subject. So snoot photography is really perfect. So block the flash is not really a thing the snoot does, and fast shutter speed as well. It's 1/250. So it's actually the snoot is something I really use a lot, because in Belgium, like I said, we have lots of backscatter in the water, and if you don't use a snoot, it's almost a snowstorm. Slow aperture and fast shutter speed I use quite a lot, because the fast shutter speed is really important for the black background as well, but especially for to get a sharp image, because if you are used to get on the water, the animals, they move. If you are in a studio taking pictures of a model, you can say, "Ho, pause," and etc. But a fish, no, a fish is, these shrimps live inside of anemones, and they all go in the waves. So the fast shutter speed is quite important for me to have sharp pictures. And then a beautiful shot of a whale shark, like it should be. No people touching, no people riding the whale shark, no people interfering, only a whale shark feeding and just enjoying his freedom and his, it's beautiful blue water. Maybe a little bit more information about is there any software that will clean up the small particle? Yes, there is. It's actually Photoshop. So it's in Photoshop, you have really good tools to remove backscatter. You can use the clone stamp. That's one of the easiest tricks. And if the backscatter is on the subject, you can try some other tools. But again, if you have...
Thomas, this question, I think many people don't have this kind of information. Do you see the question? How do you use change the lenses in the water?
Okay. Actually, I don't change the lenses of the camera. I only have the wet lenses that I can change, because if I go on the water with the housing, I have the body and I have the camera, and it's inside the housing. And if you open it, it will flood. OM system is water sealed, waterproof, but at 30 meters you don't want to open the camera because it's flood. But you can put, yeah, I prefer to, but you can put in front of the 60 millimeters or the 30 millimeters or even any other lens, you can put wet lenses, and they're called diopters. It's actually for macro, and you just screw it on the housing because it's quite easy, and you can do it underwater, you can do it above, but the lenses on the camera you can't change underwater. So that's I don't recommend it. You can't do it, but the camera wouldn't like it.
Another question coming from Roger. So, do you have some
software? Yeah. So that's the Photoshop. So and indeed, Lightroom has eliminate according to content, and it cleans backscatter very well. I use Photoshop, and I use quite a lot clone stamp, so it's very easy because backscatter you don't have to worry about it. You can also work in layers, because if you have the basic layer, the background, and the other layer, the subject, you can make the other layer a little bit murky, and then it's really easy to just with a layer mask only select the subject, and the backscatter is gone as well. So it's really easy. So again, if you have questions about Photoshop, send me. I'm always really active on Instagram. Just send me a message and I will try to help you. The next one. This is a story from South Africa for a local newspaper, a Belgian newspaper, actually the biggest in Belgium, a little bit proud of. And they wanted me to tell a story about the great white. Okay, I was thinking, great whites. I love it. The best place in the world is South Africa. But it didn't go as well as I hoped, because I went to the best place in the world to see the great whites, Gansbaai in South Africa. Every National Geographic documentary, air jaws, is shot over there. Beautiful place, beautiful water. You don't want to fall in because the waves are really strong, but that's something that attracts me, the beautiful sea. But yeah, no sharks. You see it, it's empty. And why is it empty? It's a small link in the food chain. The abalone is a small snail, and the snail that eats on the kelp. You see, the picture you see is kelp, and normally it's full of snails, full of abalone. But abalone is quite delicious, so you already can think what's going to happen. People start poaching because it's illegal to collect abalone. They start poaching the abalone, and the kelp is starting to grow. You think, well, that's no problem. A little bit seaweed, that's no problem. It's a big problem because great whites, they feed on beautiful sea lions. And if the sea lions have too much protection in the kelp, the great whites can't feed on the sea lions, and they leave, because a shark is really intelligent, it's really smart. If I don't find food here, I go somewhere else. So there are no great whites at the moment in Gansbaai. Lots of seals, actually too many seals, because they don't have the natural enemy. And what happens next? The seals start feeding on the penguins. And it's a really protective species in South Africa, really endangered species. So that's a really big problem. The snails, the abalone, is eaten by us. The great whites are leaving because there are no eatable seals. The seals eat all the fish. They are hungry. They start feeding on the penguins. So a small snail can make such a difference in the food chain of life. So people are always talking about, we need to protect this animal, we need to protect that animal, but actually we need to protect all the environment, because if we take one animal out of the food chain, it will collapse. And that's something I want to tell everybody. Protect everything. Don't be picky. If you think a dolphin is cute, very good, but all the other animals are also cute. I think sharks, really, they're cute, they're cuddly, they're Yeah, they're smart. They're one of my favorite animals. So we need to protect the whole environment to protect our favorite animal. And then, yeah, I need to have pictures from great whites. So I was in my car with my fiance. I name my wife at the moment because we are already married. Yeah, it was difficult to have fiance, wife. Oh, okay, it was my wife. And yeah, okay. What do we do? What do we do? So we start driving, 200 kilometers, no sharks. We start driving again, 400 kilometers, sharks. So it's a small bay. It was Mossel Bay. It was famous for the juvenile white sharks. So here he is, and here he is underwater, the great white, one of my favorite animals. Again, it's not the picture you're used to of great whites, because everybody wants to show great white sharks with lots of teeth attacking something, a really action-full picture. But I want to show the natural beauty of the animals, because it's not the killer, it's not the monster everybody thinks it is. It's a quite shy animal. It's quite, and it's really intelligent, and it's not Jaws. And that's something I want to do with my pictures. Tell people a story about animals they don't know. Because one of the next pictures is in my local lake pond in the backyard from toads. Everybody, icky toads. It's dark. It's yucky. But no, they're beautiful, just like the great white. Here it is. Local lakes. Everybody can contribute. And it's true, like I said, if you have a camera, take pictures, post it on Facebook, post it on that water really looked cold. Yes, indeed. Great whites in summertime live in quite cold water. Cold, because at the moment, South Africa, I think from the pictures, was 15 degrees. The picture you see now at the moment, it's even colder. It's 3 degrees. So it's a picture from last year, January. So it's the mating of the toads in Belgium. It's in this deep water, so it's quite shallow. I'm just on my stomach with a snorkel, just flapping around because you can't swim. It's too shallow. But the toads are really underestimated animals in Belgium. Lots of toads die because they cross the roads to go breed in the pond they were born in. So people don't know this, and these pictures are published in the local newspaper because they care of the animals, help the animals cross the roads. It's a small thing, but if we help the toads to cross the road, we don't drive them over by our car, we don't kill them, and they are... what kind of autofocus do you use? I don't use... a single autofocus, most of the time constant autofocus, because single it's really difficult on the water, because the fish, they can move all directions. So it's sometimes I try to use back button, but I love the traffic Belgium sign for toads. People don't know this, but in Belgium we have traffic signs for crossing toads. It's a big sign with a toad on. It's watch out, toads. We also have them for deers. We have them for boars. In Belgium, we love our traffic signs. If you ever come to Belgium, you will understand what I'm saying. We have traffic signs for everybody. The roads are terrible, so it's actually don't come to Belgium. It's it's not good for the and of course, you're welcome to Belgium. And if you want to come dive with me, always welcome. I'll take pictures with me. But the local lakes. This picture is just a bunch of toads, but I want to show you this picture. This is my favorite kind of photography. It's called half-half, and it's one of the most difficult things to do underwater, because you want to have the focus above and below. Again, for underwater, I'm using the snoot. And the snoot is, like I said, the flashlight with the small tube on it, so it narrows to the end. and you only illuminate the toads, because otherwise you will have lots of backscatter, because the visibility in this kind of waters is 30 centimeters, 50 centimeters, best 1 meter. So you have to, really take care of the backscatter. And then the beautiful sunset. That's a picture I'm really proud of, especially, the water is 3 degrees. I was more than 5 hours in the water, so I was freezing. But it's beautiful, because it's an ugly animal for most of the people, brought in a beautiful way. And it's thank you so much. It's real. I love it too. No, it's picture that's quite important this for me, because is it a real photo? Yes, it is a real photo. It's it's a half picture. So it's you put the camera with a big dome port, and you put it actually half into the water, so you can focus. And I want to say this: face tracking works underwater. So it's a really good feature on OMSYSTEM cameras. You just put the eye tracking, and it works for toads. It works for animals with big eyes, so not the mini tiny fishes. But if you have a fish this size, eye tracking works. If I do fashion photography on the water with mermaids, with models, face eye works. So that's something I want to tell you. Just put it on. It's really easy, especially if you want to do some fashion photography. It's really bad. You have the perfect shot, but the face isn't sharp, and that's So if you put the eye tracking on, that's perfect. Are you providing seminars for image in? Okay. Yes, indeed, Kurt. I do. So it's I do it for TG6. I do it for all the OMSYSTEM cameras. So if you want more information, just send me a message, and I will tell you all about it. Because image in image, so it's beeld op beeld in Dutch. It's very popular on the water, and it's really easy to do with the OMSYSTEM cameras. You can do double exposure, and actually that's something I'm going to look if I have a picture. Double exposure picture. Thierry, can you? I'm going to need your assistance. On my Instagram, there is a picture from a fish under a small bridge. Is it possible that you can show me this, or is it a difficult question?
Do you remember where is this picture?
It's a quite new one. I think I'm going to check it, because actually it's one of the.
Okay, let me.
It's the 10th. It's a 10th picture. Picture number 10.
Okay, let me check if it's possible for me to share my screen.
All right, perfect.
I try to show you.
Yeah, and I see already a really good question again. Why is there no water runs or water drip? How did you get rid of the water line? Don't be shocked. There are thousands of ways to get rid of the water runs, but my way is just to lick the camera. You have the dome port. It's a big dome port, and just like your diving goggles, you use spit. Just you spit in the diving goggles, you wash it out. I do the same with my dome port. I just lick it. People think I'm crazy, but it works. So just lick it, lots of saliva, just rub it in, and you see the water will. It won't stay on the dome port. It's quite easy. So
can I catch your presentation and I showed your Instagram, Thomas?
Yeah, perfect.
For you?
Yeah.
Okay. So where is the picture you want to?
Just go a little bit down, a little bit down, and then to the left, one to the left, and just one down. Actually, no, that's good as well. The face is good. That's a double exposure as well. Yeah, perfect. This picture, so because of Kurt, and I think you are Belgian because you want to go diving in Ekeren. So this was actually a picture from the Belgium Championship, and it's no Photoshop, no editing, nothing. It's straight out of the camera, and it's a double exposure. Now, what is a double exposure? You just take a picture, the background picture, and in this picture, I was pointing to a really bright light. So the model, you see the beautiful wife. It's a beautiful wife. It's my wife. Really beautiful wife. So I need to have score some points. So it's a beautiful wife. She was standing in front of a very bright light. And I used a really high shutter time, so you get only the silhouette. So it's a white background with only the black silhouette of the beautiful wife. And that's the first picture. With this picture, I go underwater, and then I take a second picture, in this case, on the water from the plants and the sun rays. And then in camera, I can use double exposure. It's really, really, really easy. And then, just the camera stitch them together, and you have this kind of pictures. It's a really creative way to make pictures. Some people think, it's fake, it's Photoshop. But for me, it's just an expansion of my creativity. And that's something I love. Some camera brands can't do double exposure. And once again, a really strong point from OMSYSTEM. So
I have a question, Thomas, because I think we don't have this question on the comment, but do you use only JPEG file or do you use the RAW file to take your picture?
I use them both because I use a lot of Photoshop for not competition pictures. So I use the RAW files and the JPEG file. So it's that's something, it's standard for me. I use them both.
Okay.
All right.
Do you search other picture, or that's fine?
Yeah, you can. So the turtle, maybe you can. You can show the picture of the jellyfish eating the small fish. Go to the right, a little bit above. To up. Go up a little bit more. Go up. Yes, that's picture.
This one?
This one. Yeah. Can you do double exposure with the TG6? Of course. Like I said, the TG6 is the most underestimated camera in the world. People think it's a toy, but it's not a toy. So you can do everything. You can do everything with the TG6. And one of the things I want to say about the TG6, and actually I start every workshop by saying, know what your camera can, what you can do with your camera, but the most important thing is know what your camera can't, because lots of people are trying to make pictures and the camera isn't good enough. Good enough. It's every camera is good, but some cameras are better in some things. So know the strong things your camera is strong in, especially the TG6. It's really, really, really good in macro. For wide angle, it's a little bit less. So if you have the TG6, focus on macro pictures, on the microscope function. And that's a really strong point. Focus on the video with the TG6. Because I was 2 years ago, I was on the World Championship. Yes, there is a World Championship underwater photography, and even there were people using the TG6. So it's a really underestimated camera. And if you want to learn more about it, just YouTube it. Ask me. There are lots of tutorials. There are lots of workshops. So it's a really good camera. Okay. Do you set up OM1 for sequential shooting? Sometimes. If I use the flash, no, because the flash, they can't go bam, 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 bam. But if I use continuous light, especially in pools and fashion shooting, I try to use sequentially, because some models, and no bad word about underwater models because it's really difficult, but they try to use so many poses in one breath because it's all free diving. They just go and then they're, oh, I need to do this, I need to do this. And then it's really, then you have to go bam, 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 bam. Otherwise, sometimes you miss a shot. So actually, good question. This picture, I think that's the last picture I'm going to talk about. If you got questions, just shoot. But the last picture, it's a picture for me important to show you never give up and always keep an eye out for some animals. Because this picture was again awarded in the Belgian Championship, but it was shot in the last minute of my dive, because I did a dive, I had some beautiful pictures, I was happy, but I was not, wow, I'm so happy. So I was, yeah. And I was swimming back to the shore, and suddenly I saw the jellyfish with the fish inside. And it's really rare that you can see this, because normally the jellies, they're on the bottom, they're just laying around, they're just being jelly. And I saw this, it was just, the perfect time, the perfect moment, the perfect lens. And it's so always keep an eye, always spare a little bit of your battery during the dive. Always keep an eye at the last moment, because you never know what you're going to see. Sequential shooting not good for fish portraits. It depends. If you have light enough, yes. If you using strobes, it's not the best way, because sequential is really fast, and that's a positive thing. And the downside about OM system, it's so fast that your flashlight, you can't follow. It's go bam 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 bam. My strobes can, I think they go 5 or 6 times each second. But that's not enough. OM is just too fast, and that's the reason. If you have light enough, if the sun, a video light, then you can use it. But if you use strobe lights, you can't use it. You can, but it's not going to be good, because you're gonna have good lighted pictures and you have dark pictures. So that's they're just too fast, and that's good.
Okay, do you have some other question, or do you want to say something more, Thomas, from your side? Or
no,
at the end of this presentation, I don't know if you have no question. So I just want to say again, thank you very much to be there, Thomas, and thank you very much to all the people who have some question and to be there, and the interest from the underwater photography. So maybe how did you become an ambassador? Oh, this is for you, Thomas. This maybe is one of the last questions.
Okay, how did you become an OM ambassador? I think it was from during Yasmin, I guess, because it was
right.
The marketing manager from Belgium I was in touch with. And I'm always very enthusiastic. You can see I'm photography, and I think that's one of the reasons she liked me. And I was already working, I think, 10 years with Olympus and now OMSYSTEM, and I'm very passionate about the brand, because for me, OM is the best camera for me. Some people like Sony, some people like Nikon, Canon. They're all good cameras, but the way I use OMSYSTEM, I use a camera. OMSYSTEM is for me the best camera. The weather sealing, like I said, it's perfect. One time, I have water in my housing, and I was, oh no, there's water in my housing. But the camera keeps on working because they're rather sealed. The lenses, the pro lenses, they are rather sealed. You can shower your camera. So it's, for me, really important. Cold. It's really cold in Belgium underwater at the moment. So that's one of the benefits as well. The stabilization, the low light focus, everything. And that's I think that's the reason I still am an OM ambassador, because I truly am passionate about the product. And not because, I don't know why, but if I don't like the product, I can't talk about it like I do. So I think that's...
I remember the first time I showed you, because I choose you to be ambassador. I remember the moment. It's at the photo days in Brussels. I don't know if you remember this moment. And I ask you the first question: do you like your camera, or you be there to have money? So honestly, that's the most important. If you don't like your camera, that's impossible to make good picture. It's not possible to work only because I want to have all free or blah blah blah. So some people imagine when you are ambassador, all is free. This is not true. You have to have your camera. You have to like your camera, and after maybe you help you like this moment, for example, to take the time to speak about your passion. So I'm very happy to choose you and to be there after 5 years, or I think so around that.
Yeah, I think so.
So I think a good question for this kind of underwater photography.
Okay, what camera did you start with? The actually it was Olympus Pen APL1. So the first pen that was for underwater photography. So that was my camera, and I still think it's an amazing camera because it's an old camera, but the how you say it. It was really innovating at that time because you have on the water, you can only have the full frames, you get the really big cameras, and Olympus made the pen camera. It was small, it was affordable because otherwise you have to pay 5,000 euro for a camera for the housing, and the pen was really affordable because I don't have a lot of money. I'm a photographer. And every photographer knows you don't have money. You don't become a photographer to get rich. So it was for me the best choice. And I stick to the brand because it's small and all the other things I said about it. So the Pen 1 was my first camera. And then sorry?
I have just a question for me. And I say I don't have answer for that. So maybe one day we have a TG7. So we have to wait for that. No information for the moment. So personally, I hope, because like Thomas said, this is a very good camera. I don't have a really competitor in front of the TG5 or TG6. So I think it's important to have another one. So maybe you have to wait to have more information. And this question, because I asked you, Thomas, directly, but I think it's important for the people to know your answer. I know this is not exactly what do you use on your topic, but if you have some question or answer for that.
Yeah, certainly. Normally the ISO I use is between 200 and 400, but if I do fashion shooting, and Kurt, it's in Dutch, will especially know this place, Todi. It's a dive center in Belgium, and it's quite dark. It's not dark like caves and mines, but there I can shoot ISO 1000, 1500. So if you do caves and mines, I think you use slave strobes. You can do 1000, 1500, 1600 easily. So it's no problem. And one of the best things for OM system is the focus in low light. And if you want, because you're from Belgium, we can meet and you can try it for yourself. Because in compared to other brands, and now I want to brag about Olympus OM system, and compared to other brands, the focus in low light is really fast. I dive a lot in the Eastern Scheldt, Oosterschelde, and I don't have to struggle with focus. So I'm not a cave diver, but you're always welcome to try the camera. And we go diving together. It's easy, so it's you can try it yourself.
And if you want to have the better result on the high sensitivity, the best camera you have actually is the new OM1, because we have a new sensor on this camera, so the value of the ISO is much higher to compare what you use. For example, Thomas, the camera you use actually. So if you want if the high sensitivity is very important for you, the best camera we have is the OM1. Okay, maybe one or two more questions, Thomas, for you. Yep. That's fine.
It's okay. I have all the time. Do you have to deal with humidity fog after coming out of the water? I don't think so, because the housing is waterproof, water sealed. I just come out of the water, I open the housing, or I don't. I leave it closed, because during between two dives, check the pictures on the app. Maybe you don't know it, or you know it. It's or OM has a great app, and you can watch pictures on the camera with Bluetooth, and it's so easy because everybody here, I think it's a diver, it's used to underwater photography, so you will know the housing. You keep it close. Don't open it just for fun, because every time you open and close it, it's always a teeny tiny risk. So if I don't have to open it, I leave it. I leave it like this. And if I want to show pictures on a bigger screen, I just take my cell phone. Here is the cell phone, and I use the app, and then I can show people on the boat. Oh, I saw a shark. I saw this. I saw that. And then the camera is still dry in its housing, and I open it only in my hotel room at home or stuff like that. With underwater sequential shooting, do you keep the metering the same? Like I said, I don't use it. Sorry, I don't use it a lot, so I don't recommend it actually, because for models, yes, but for fish or turtles, macrolife, don't do it. So it's if you have the opportunity to use strobes, flashlight, try it. I'm not sure, are you from Belgium or from where, but in every country you have stores where you can rent strobes. Just try it. Rent or buy a strobe, and you will see you don't need the sequential shooting, because the strobes give you better light. You can do a few shots at each second, so it's bam bam bam. That's more than good enough. So I don't recommend it actually. So it's
Okay.
Other question. I'm using a TG6. Just a comment. So it's sorry.
Just a comment. Okay.
So very good, TG6 fan.
Yes, I think there are a lot of questions about the TG. So I have to make a request to make a session about the TG, because we have a lot of comments and a lot of questions. So so thank you again. So my last information again, I don't know if you have a TG7 on the future. We don't have any information about that. So I want to be clear about that. So wait and see, maybe one day, but for the moment, we don't have any information about the TG7. So again, thanks a lot, Thomas, to be there. And thanks to everybody. So we have next session, maybe one day with you, Thomas, to speak again about your amazing photo. So I just remember for everybody, you have the link for Instagram from Thomas on the beginning of the discussion. And so again, thank you very much, Thomas. Thank you all, and see you very soon for other session. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody, and have a nice end of the day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.